Sisyphus is the Sagittarius knight in the Lost Canvas. But could it be that the gold saint most loyal to Athena was actually the greatest betrayer of the goddess's will? Even if unintentionally. What if I told you his biggest enemy wasn't Hades, but his conscience? Hello, knights and Amazons. Welcome to Always Wanted to Know. I'm Wes. Today we'll discuss one of the most exciting Saint Seiya works, the Lost Canvas. In today's video, I'm going to reveal 17 mysteries about Sisyphus of Sagittarius, the man who carried Athena's army on his back. Did you like the topic? So go ahead and click like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and let's get to the video. Always good to know, curiosity number 1. Sisyphus of Sagittarius, the myth of the hero. First, let's discuss the name Sisyphus. In Greek mythology, he was the king of Ephyra. Known as the most cunning mortal, he challenged the gods, tricked death, Thanatos, and even deceived Hades, the god of the underworld, as eternal punishment. He was condemned to roll a giant boulder up to the top of a mountain, only to watch it roll back down. Every time he got close to the end, in the Lost Canvas, Sagittarius Sisyphus's boulder symbolizes his guilt. Unlike the Greek myth where Sisyphus was selfish and deceitful, the gold saint embodies true selflessness. The irony here is that the mythological Sisyphus would avoid death at any cost, while the Sagittarius Sisyphus accepts death as the ultimate sacrifice to ensure the lives of future generations, of saints and also of Athena. Curiosity number 2. The man who stole a goddess. Many people forget how the Holy War began. For Sisyphus, he was the one who found Sasha in Italy and took her to the sanctuary. In his mind, he was just fulfilling his duty to find Athena's reincarnation. However, when he saw Sasha cry for being separated from her brother, Alani, and her friend, Tenma, Sisyphus developed a deep trauma. He spent years wondering if he hadn't destroyed a child's happiness just to satisfy the needs. Internal conflict is what makes him so human and different from the other gold saints. Curiosity number 3. The brother of the legendary Leo, Sisyphus, is not just a prodigy by his own effort. He comes from a lineage of absolute power. He is Ilias of Leo's younger brother, widely regarded as his generation's strongest saint and the first to communicate with nature through the 8th sense. Sisyphus lived for a long time in the shadow of Ilias, trying to understand what it meant to be a true guardian of Athena. The relationship between the two is based on respect and a deep melancholy, since Ilias suffered from a terminal illness that kept him away from battles, leaving Sisyphus with the responsibility of leading the new knights. Curiosity number 4. Was the throne of the Grand Master, Sisyphus, the natural candidate to replace Sage as the Grand Master of the Sanctuary? He had leadership, the respect of the other knights, and Athena's complete trust. However, he refused the position. But why? Precisely because of insecurity. He believed his heart was impure because of the doubts he felt. This shows that in the Lost Canvas, power is more than cosmo energy. It's also mental stability, which Sisyphus struggled to keep throughout most of the story. In the final assault on the Lost Canvas of Hades, Sisyphus led the remaining knights to its gates. Curiosity number 5. The Prison of Dreams. One of the most agonizing arcs for the character is when he is struck by an arrow sent back by Hades. His soul becomes trapped in the dream world by the Oneros, the gods of dreams. There he is psychologically tortured, seeing visions of himself as a traitor who caused the destruction of the sanctuary. Interestingly, Sagittarius's armor changes color and becomes the Sepphoris in the dream world, a black armor from Hades' army, symbolizing how his own subconscious saw him as a monster. This is also a reference to the classic Hades saga, where we don't see Iolos of Sagittarius being resurrected as a specter. With this, the author Oshiori makes a reference for the fans of the series, showing what the Sagittarius Sepphoris would look like in the story. Curiosity 6. The Sagittarius arrow that shapes destiny in the Lost Canvas. It's not just a long-range weapon, it's treated as a channeler of cosmos. When Sisyphus shoots at Hades right at the beginning of the story, the god returns the attack, which starts his ordeal. In the world of dreams, however, later on it's this same arrow, bathed in Athena's cosmos and guided by Sisyphus, who has awakened, that helps Capricorn's Cid defeat the gods of dreams. This perfectly unites the archer's strategy with the sacred sword scallion's execution. In the classic saga, we see something similar when the Gold Saints destroy the Wailing Wall. Aiolos fires the Sagittarius arrow, which contains the power of all 12 Gold Saints of his era. Curiosity number 7. The connection with El Cid of Capricorn. Sisyphus and El Cid have one of the most underrated friendships in the series. El Cid views Sisyphus as his ideal knight, while Sisyphus is the core of Athena's army. El Cid is the cold blade of judgment when Sisyphus gets stuck. In dreams, El Cid boldly enters the god's realm to save his friend's soul. This dynamic shows that Sisyphus was not just a formal leader of the knights, but someone for whom the other gold knights were willing to die, of their own will, not just from duty. This is a big contrast with the story of Aiolos' saga, where the Sagittarius knight was killed by the Capricorn knight. Shura, even knowing all about Aiolos' story and character, didn't listen to his friend and executed him. Curiosity number 8. The master of Leo Regulus, besides taking care of Sasha Sisypho, played a fundamental role in the upbringing of Leo Regulus, his brother's son, Ilhas. After Ilhas' death at the hands of Rhadamanthys, Sisypho took in young Regulus at the sanctuary. He was not just an uncle, but a master who taught the young combat genius that power without purpose is empty. Their relationship is mirrored in the fact that both seek to surpass the legendary figure of Ilhas, each in their own way. And we know that Regulus became an iconic lion knight, considered by many fans to be the most powerful of all time. Curiosity number 9. The battle with Hades. While other knights rely on physical combat, Sisypho and Hades face off ideologically. First, Hades tries to persuade Sisypho that his love for Athena is actually selfishness. The peace the goddess offers only delays inevitable human suffering. Sisypho resists not with force, but by affirming that pain and hope coexist. This philosophical depth is what elevates the lost canvas above an ordinary shonen work, showing completely different ideologies for each character. Even gold saints, united by the same ideal, each imagine a perfect world differently. Curiosity number 10. The battle against Yakus of Garuda. If you want to see Sisypho at the peak of his power, the fight against Yakus, one of the judges of the underworld, is the right moment. Yakus is the antithesis of Sisypho. He rules his soldiers through fear and forced sacrifice, treating them as disposable pawns. Sisypho, however, uses his cosmos to protect all his subordinates. In this fight, he demonstrates superhuman endurance, being able to keep fighting even after his nerves and senses are severely damaged by the attack. Galactic illusion. Sisypho blinds himself in this battle and defeats Yakus after awakening the 8th sense. Fun fact 11. The judgment of a knight's heart. One of the most memorable scenes in the Lost Canvas is when Sisypho confronts Pharaoh of Sphinx at the gate to the Lost Canvas. In the sky, the specter says that the gate only opens with a truly just heart. Sisypho then rips out his own heart, and Pharaoh uses his scale to weigh Sisypho's heart against the feather of truth, a clear reference to the Egyptian myth of Mah. To the specter's surprise, Sisypho's heart balances perfectly. This symbolizes the moment when he finally accepts his flaws and his humanity, freeing himself from the weight of the stone that had haunted him from the beginning. He knows he doesn't have to be perfect to be just. Still, the pharaoh breaks the agreement and attacks. Still, Sisyphus easily defeats him even without his heart. Curiosity number 12. The awakening of the 8th sense. To defeat Yakus and safeguard the ship carrying the knights to the sky, Sisyphus attains a rare level of cosmos. The 8th sense in the Lost Canvas refers to overcoming the fear of death and uniting with the universe, Sisyphus. He blinds himself during the battle to sharpen his other senses and reach this supreme perception. It's an interesting parallel with the original myth, where the Greek Sisyphus tried to cheat death to remain on Earth. Sagittarius accepts death in life to transcend the physical plane and defeat his enemy. Fun fact number 13. Sisyphus's sacrifice literally rips out his own heart and allows it to be weighed by the pharaoh as it stops beating. He does all this to prove loyalty and open the Lost Canvas gate. Yet, even after his heart is removed, he stays standing. This is one of the most intense moments in the entire franchise. He defies the laws of biology through sheer willpower. He dies protecting the passage so that his companions could advance, being a pillar of sacrifice among the Gold Saints and equally a hero. Just like his successor, Aiolos of Sagittarius. Curiosity number 14. Athena's exclamation. Even in his final moments, Sisyphus does not give orders out of desperation. He organizes the retreat, encourages Athena, and entrusts the future to Chiron of Aries and Regulus of Leo, the Gold Saints with him and Athena. He knew that the role of the Sagittarius saint has always been to be the foundation, the base upon which the others build victory. He dies maintaining his stance as a beacon of hope for Athena's army. However, after his death, the gate to the lost canvas remains closed. Regulus and Chiron couldn't open that place. So they prepared to unleash the Athena exclamation, the most powerful technique of the Gold Saints. At that moment, Sisyphus's body moves again, aiding his companions in using the forbidden technique to destroy the lost canvas gate. It paves the way for the confrontation with Hades. Curiosity number 15. Chiron's light impulse. Unlike Aiolos' atomic thunder, Sisyphus has other techniques, and one of them is Chiron's light impulse. He creates a massive golden whirlwind that becomes a true windstorm. The Sagittarius Knight can unleash this attack over a wide area or concentrate it on a single point, increasing its power and making it deadly. Sisyphus of Sagittarius used this technique to extinguish flames created by Ayako of Garuda, who was trying to destroy the orichalcum-powered ship Athena's knights would use to invade the lost canvas in the sky. Overcomer of Hades. Curiosity number 16. Chiron's Storm. This is another technique exclusive to Sisyphus. Chiron's Storm is a move that Sisyphus uses in his Gaiden. He flaps the wings of his armor, creating a great windstorm that throws the opponent far away, similar to Shun of Andromeda's nebula storm. Sisyphus used this technique against Aspros of Gemini and Hasgard of Taurus. Curiosity number 17. The connection between Sisyphus and Asmita in the Lost Canvas. The Sagittarius saint has some special chapters where he meets Asmita, the Virgo saint. In this story, Sisyphus and Asmita clash. However, the real enemy was someone else. They go to the tomb of Ilias, the former Leo saint, who is Sisyphus' brother. Ilias's spirit appears wearing his armor. Beside him is a white she-wolf, and so the Leo saint faces the two newly appointed gold saints. In this story, Ilias reveals that he awakened the eighth sense and because of that became a free spirit. Therefore, he says that Sisyphus and Asmita should do the same and awaken this power. Years later, Asmita awakened this power and created the rosary of 108 beads. Sisyphus did the same against Garuda, and later joined Zion and Regulus in Athena's exclamation after his death. Sisyphus of Sagittarius is easily one of the best written characters in Saint Seiya. He's not just a strong knight, he's a man tormented by his own kindness. A leader who doubts himself and a warrior who mastered himself before defeating his enemies. He teaches us that true heroism isn't about never falling, but about keeping on fighting, even when everything seems lost. Through the universe of the Lost Canvas, Sisyphus rose in my estimation after learning these details about his mythological connection and his final sacrifice. Comment below with your favorite gold saint from this era. Thanks for watching until the end. See you next time. Burn your cosmos to infinity.